This is how I escaped the loneliness epidemic. In high school, I was bullied and isolated, ate my lunch alone in a cozy corner of the library. Decades later, I'm still single, childless, and far from home. Some days, I don't just feel lonely. The isolation feels like a crushing pain on my body. And more than one doctor has correctly diagnosed me with depression. And when I was at my worst, I was ready to give up just for a break from that pain. I don't want others to suffer in the ways that I have. So this is the 5-step system that gave me hope and saved my life. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily. I like to bring you my favorite personal development advice to help you grow into the best version of yourself and engineer your dreams. Step number 1, commit to courage. It is very easy to hide from the world when you're sad and lonely. I primarily hide out of fear because I presume it's more productive to spend time on my funtivity side projects than it would be taking the risk of getting hurt again by a potential new friend or by a new date. But your problems don't improve by avoiding them. I may be telling myself that I'm productive when I choose to read a book instead of going out, but in reality, I'm procrastinating and I'm hiding from my future. It takes immense courage, especially after you've been hurt, to continuously put yourself out into the world and take risks and be vulnerable. But it is essential, especially when you're at your lowest points, to choose to be brave and to choose to keep fighting for a future that's in your heart. Yes, I have had to open myself up and be vulnerable to pain again and again every time I leave my cozy cave. But even if I don't get the outcome I'm looking for, even if I don't find love, even if I don't make all the brand new friends, it's worth it because in the act of choosing to be brave, I'm proving to myself that I'm capable. And that has given me more self-worth than any mirror affirmation ever could. Every time that I pick myself up and I choose to fight for a future that lives in my heart, I'm showing myself that I'm strong, that I'm valuable, and that I am worthy of the future I claim to want. And whenever I choose to hide away, I just feel smaller. If you feel like you're struggling, and if you feel like you're alone, you have to start believing in yourself again. You don't have to find your best friend at Pilates, and you don't have to get your dream job in your next interview. You have to continuously prove to yourself that your life is worth fighting for. If you want to build your dream life, you have to be brave again and again and again. I promise you it won't be easy, but there is a life on the other side of that pain, and it is worth walking through that deep valley to meet your future and to find out who you became in that process. So pick yourself up and walk out of your house because your next adventure is waiting. Step number 2, connect to faith. I was once a serious scientific person, but now I suppose you would call me a seriously spiritual individual. On my darkest days, when I felt my loneliness and pain heavy on my shoulders, he was there. It felt like God stepped in to remind me that I am loved, that I am worthy, and I have immense value to give to this world. And all he asked of me was to trust that he has a marvelous plan for my life, even if my human eyes can't see it right now. We are all on a different spiritual journey in this life. And if I tell you you are loved, valued, and supported, you won't necessarily feel it. But I wish my younger self had been more receptive to spirituality. It would have really helped her to have someone to turn to when she felt lost and alone, who knew her intimately, who loved and cared for even the darkest parts of her soul. It would have really helped my younger self to know that there was someone who would never give up on me. I lived in Providence for 2 years before I ever walked into a church. I used to run by every weekend and feel like I was avoiding something. And then when I finally found the courage to walk inside, I found friends, I found community, and I found a space to kind of just feel held. And whatever spiritual practice you happen to use, I hope you have the space to welcome it into your heart. Because today, when I walked to get my coffee, my friends from church waved to me on my way by. I spend my Sunday mornings coloring the kids in the babysitting room before CCD, and I know there exists a God in our universe who sees me completely and loves me because of it. Okay, step 3, cut off negative Nancy's. I have actually felt the most lonely when I was in a relationship, and not just any relationship, in the wrong relationship. You can be surrounded by a room full of strangers who are happy and healthy and feel completely alone. Connection has nothing to do with personal proximity. To feel connected, you have to be seen for your authentic self and feel loved and understood for that. Thankfully, it's impossible for the whole world to connect to you on this kind of level, because that would be so overwhelming. You will inevitably meet and date people who see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear. They will see a version of you that makes them happy. They won't necessarily see the full you or connect to you on a deeper level. If you want to feel more connected and less alone, you have to shift your attention away from people who only see a part of you to focus on those who fill you up completely. So please stop double texting that guy that sporadically sprinkles you with attention. I have continuously had to cut people out of my life who make me feel misunderstood and small. And I want to only be surrounded by friends and family in my life who make me feel loved, supported, and seen. I wish I could tell my younger self to have the courage to let go. You don't have to convince yourself to spend time with people who make you feel happy and whole. So stop trying to force connections with people who are placeholders for true love. Okay, step 4, cultivate community. If you have no one to text at night, it is partially your fault. If you want to change your life, you have to stop blaming everyone except yourself. This is your life, and it is your responsibility to continuously do the hard work to cultivate community for yourself. When I feel the most alone, it's often because I'm the one isolating myself. For whatever reason, I've decided to marinate in my negative emotions instead of choosing to change them. Even if you feel alone, I promise there are people around you who will lift you up if you just have the courage to reach out your hand. Life is not meant to be lived in isolation. We are creatures of community. But don't overwhelm yourself. This doesn't have to be a big deal. Reaching out can be as simple and as small as smiling at your local barista. And one of the habits that has most cured my melancholy emotions is taking an active interest in the lives of people around me, actively choosing to care about the community in which I live. I used to be very timid, but one of the best things my mother has taught me is that a stranger is just a friend you don't know yet. And when I was little, it used to annoy me that my mom would be off making friends at Starbucks while I was running to catch our flight. But now I'm so lucky to have had a mother who's brave enough to bridge the gap of isolation that we sometimes place between ourselves. When she sees someone with her favorite book, she has to give them her favorite book recommendation. And when she sees someone who seems in pain, she offers a little smile, because you never know what someone is going through behind the pretty package. And when I take an active interest in someone else's day, it makes me feel like I'm part of a bigger story, and like the problems of my life are very small by comparison. Okay, the next step, if you want to feel less lonely, is to stop trying so hard to be happy. I know if you're floating around the personal development space on YouTube, there's so much content on how to better your life, how to be happier, how to be more productive, how to be more successful. And all of those things make you feel like in the moment, you're actually a failure. And in the present moment, that just makes me feel pain. If I want to feel less lonely, instead of frantically trying to fix it, I just choose to allow that be my emotion and to continue living my glorious life despite it. I have caused myself so much additional anxiety trying to frantically fix my internal emotion now, hoping that it would make me feel better in the future. And if you want to make more friends and if you want to connect with others, you have to be present in this very moment now. You can't be thinking about all the things you have to do and avoiding opportunities to connect that are right in front of you. Today, you might feel sad. Today, you might feel lonely. And today, you might feel lost. But congratulations. That means you're human. And your happiness is not guaranteed. Your life will go on regardless of your feelings. And you don't have to wait for this magical moment when you feel happy in order to start actually living your life. You can start today despite your feelings. You can choose to do the things that you have always dreamed of. And then maybe one day you'll look around and you'll find yourself surrounded by friends and realize you become happy.